taxes, inflation, and the breakdown of the family are causing us to fall behind. We have the lowest net worth in the United States, and I'm sure those numbers cross the border as well.
Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings plan, and that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps.
Good morning, everyone. It is Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the Morning Vibe. No, I'm co-host and co-producer of the Morning Vibe. I'm co-host and producer of the Dr. Vibe show too. Hey, it's Monday morning, but it is so bright and sunny outside here in Toronto. It is outstanding weather for those who like just not too hot, not too cold, cool nights, not too cold, not too hot. All right, so I co-host and co-produce also this show, and I host and produce the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. I have hosted over 5,000 online conversations, just a little extra there and there for you. And I'm a two-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team since 2020, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. So for those people who are used to watching the Morning Vibe and those who don't know, my co-host Ryan Knight, he is not with me today. Actually, we spoke at length yesterday. He is actually driving to Ottawa. I think it was overnight or early this morning for some stuff to do with the federal government. So he will not be with us today. But hey, so let's go on. Housework stuff done. So subscribe to the Dr. Vibe channel on YouTube and hit the notification button. We're now past 1,580 subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if you are comfortable, please share it out. Tell other people about the epic conversations that we have on the Morning Vibe, which is so good. Also follow the Dr. Vibe show on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm with. I'm just going to clear my throat a second. Hold on. I don't know if that's better, but I just thought of clearing of the throat. I think my sinus is a little congested, but we'll push through. We'll push through. I know our friend will have a remedy if I have congestion. She will be up in just a few moments. Yeah, so advertise your business, product, or service on the show. Email me, dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. Also, join the Discord group where you continue the conversations offline. So email me, dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. Also, our dear friend, Dr. Tachi, who is the driving force of Indie Soup Media. What's Indie Soup Media? It is a content creators platform. It's about 40 independent content creators, and Dr. Tachi runs things at Indie Soup Media. They have over 18,000 YouTube subscribers in 6 or 7 months of operation. So catch me at least 3 times a week, twice with the Morning Vibe edited versions, and then once with Primetime Saturday edited versions on that platform. So, and today, Carolyn's going to be talking about the secret health sauce all men need to know. So, you got the sauce? Go for it. Where you want to start?
Well, I think that I'm glad it's being talked about more because men are very private about their privates, and understood. Right. Women, we're talkers. We like to talk a lot that, our cycle's not working and our menopause and these hot flashes. Men don't really like to talk about those things. If there's, any part on a male's body that you just don't touch but you don't touch in conversation, especially in a negative aspect. Yeah, that becomes, it's like where a male's pride is at. But the reality is, if you look at the statistics, the truth of the matter, I don't know if you knew this, but did you know that 52% of men, and so this is a man, so over the age of 21, 52% of men have expressed some form of erectile dysfunction. And that's a lot. That's more than 50% of our men. And yes, if you look at who's talking about it and where the issues are coming, for sure, the majority of that is over 60, but there are still a small percentage of men, even in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, that are experiencing some form of erectile dysfunction. And we're also noticing that those statistics are getting bigger and bigger, and those percentages are getting higher, especially in the last 5 years. So what has changed and what's going on?
Before you go any further, is this a not too good outcome with a lot of things that you address when it comes from a health wise? Because we used to think things like erectile dysfunction were with older men, but we're seeing now health challenges have a wider scope when it comes to age.
Yes, and if you really look at it, diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol are hitting a younger age audience as well. Is there a link and is there a connection? Absolutely. And the way that we can understand that is what really makes a men's organ tick. It's circulation and hormones. I mean, ultimately, that's what it is. It's circulation and hormones. So whether it's your prostate gland, whether it's your testosterone, I mean, these are all hormones that have to work optimally in order for the male organ to function. And if you don't have good circulation, and that's the biggest, if there's any takeaway that anybody takes from this, is that circulation is key. It's so important that if you want to have a full lung erection, you must have good circulation. And your hormones, they have to communicate without interruption.
So I don't know how much you have to share. I you know, when you come on, I got my questions.
I love it.
So I don't know if you want to go in first, or do you want me to ask questions? How do you want to roll?
I can go in on a couple things and just talk about this whole circulation thing, because there's a few things that I think we don't recognize or realize. So number one, water. Like beginning and end, water. So most human beings are dehydrated. You know, even yesterday, I mean, it was a church event, and you know, I'm sitting with a lady that I'm a lot of Energy Shack fans that were there as well, and clients and all of that. And she's like, oh, you know what? I usually just see you on camera. I never really get to see you in person. She's like, your skin is glowing. Like, what face cream do you use? I'm like, water, 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 and lots of vegetables. I don't have a secret sauce. But if we realize that the blood plasma is 90% water, that, you know, sperm is one thing, but we're not just, you know, it's not really just about sperm, right? So the fluid that's carrying your sperm, so your semen, is not just sperm. It is mostly water. It's about 90% water, and that's what's going to propel semen to go anywhere. Your blood plasma is 90% water. The only way that someone gets that a man gets an erection is if his penis fills with blood. And so if you're on the highway 401 or wherever your highway is in whatever country that you're listening to, look at that highway at 5 p.m. And if there's going to be so much traffic, it's going to take you forever to get from point A to point B. Look at that same highway at 5 o'clock in the morning. What? Zip, 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 zip. But that's the problem. When the blood is congested, the blood can't move very quickly to the areas that are needed. And again, the male organs are on the outside of the body. They're closer to the bottom side of the body. So this is not like from the heart going to get to the penis very quickly if there's a lot of blood congestion. So just think about if you've got high blood pressure or you have some sort of cardio issue, it's your heart that's got to pump the blood to that area. And if your heart's not strong, If your blood is thick and congested, if you're going through any kind of dehydration state because you're not eating enough fresh vegetables or vegetables, period, or you're not drinking water, naturally, automatically, you are going to have a circulation issue, and that's going to present itself in an ED problem.
All right. Dr. Chachi says the traffic analogy is great. I would say in Toronto, you're more looking like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, because 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, 5 o'clock is still bad.
Especially,
Listen,
yeah.
I live up north. I don't know 401 like I used to.
No, when I would say I've traveled at times, especially the only time I'm at 5 o'clock in the morning on the 401, pardon me, is taking people to the airport, and it's getting busy at that time. The traffic window in Toronto these days is more like 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. And even then, but early morning is when that analogy is great. Okay, I'm going to start coming in my questions. So how does holistic nutrition approach the issue of erectile dysfunction?
Well, first of all, almost all my clients, unless you're too underweight or you're on a lot of medication, I have to start you off with a detox. And I will tell you, it was a couple months ago that, man came in here, head down, only in his 40s. Like, I really need to talk to you. Can we have a private area, please? And he's like, my male organs are just not functioning. I can't hold an erection. Like, what is wrong with me? Within a week of just 5 days of juicing, he was like, you gave me my life back. Of course, we had a 2-month program together. But when you can begin by just flushing the system of toxins, putting nutrients back in your body, and drinking water, and only water is your beverage of choice. Of course, through our fasting, you were having vegetable juice, but not fruit juice. We don't even realize that the sugars we're eating, the processed food we're eating, causes so much blood congestion. So the way that I approach it as a holistic nutritionist is I want to detoxify you. I want water to be your only drink of choice. And then we are going to eat a diet that has no hormone inhibitors, no cholesterol, no processed food. You're not opening up a package. You're eating a clean plant-based diet. You don't have to stay plant-based, but let's clean things up for a month or 2 months. And then you can slowly bring back your animal products. But the reality is just know, and I'm going to talk about some compromises in a minute, but just know that your takeout food, your processed food, it's going to create a compromise. Can your body handle a little bit of a compromise? For sure it can, but it can't be every day or even every week. There's going to be an inhibitor.
Okay, so that's the diet aspect of it holistically. What about lifestyle?
That's a very good question. So we think that we are a superstar because, we can stay up late and stay up till 12 or 1 o'clock, get work done, or whatever the case is. But hormones are balanced between the hours about 9 p.m. and 1 in the morning. So if you are up during those hours, you're not getting that hormone balancing time. And then you put your body into stress when you stay up past 11 o'clock. Your body starts releasing almost double the amount of cortisol, trying to keep you awake, kind of like that child that missed its nap. All of a sudden we call it, they got their second win. No, they got a dump of cortisol and now you can't shut them down. So the same thing happens to us human beings, men and women, adults, when we stay up past 11 o'clock. Our body starts rapidly releasing cortisol to keep us awake. Unfortunately, that cortisol is very damaging to our cells. It's also making our blood thick. It's affecting our heart, our lungs in a negative way. So lifestyle, if you are not getting to bed early, and 2, if you're not exercising, your groin area is full of lymphatic fluid. Your entire body is got, patches of all your lymph system in all the places. And if you are not exercising and moving your blood, increasing your circulation, getting your immune system pumping your lymph system, you are definitely going to have circulation issues.
Can nutritional deficiencies contribute to ED?
Yes. So zinc is a big mineral that is needed for basically any kind of DNA function, any kind of reproduction function, very important for male hormones. So if you are not getting enough zinc in your diet, of course, if you're not getting enough water in your diet, and protein's a big factor, but most people are either consuming the wrong type of protein or over consuming protein, which will lead you into a prostate issue. So if you are constantly consuming heavy amounts of animal products, you are almost always going to end up with an enlarged prostate, because 40% of all animal products is waste in the human body. And understand that your prostate gland is dependent also on filtering some of that waste out through the bladder. So the more your body has to filter out waste, the more your prostate's going to be affected. Such a small, fragile gland that really gets negatively affected through a high amount of waste.
Yeah, I have more things that I can go on, or because I've been asking questions. If you want to go back and get into some more stuff from your end.
Yeah, let me just share a couple of things that I think people don't realize, because I think we are past the day and age where cigarettes are cool. You know, that was a thing in my early days where cigarettes were cool. I think everybody knows the cigarettes are not cool. It's a dirty habit. But all of a sudden, weed's become cool. And because weed doesn't have nicotine, we'll say that it's not addictive. But here's the thing, is that smoking cigarettes will deplete your sperm count by 20%. Smoking marijuana, 30%. That's a major problem. And what marijuana actually does to sperm actually disfigures your sperm. So it's coming from its DNA function. It can't actually form cells properly. And recently a study was done where they took 409 young male patients. They just did an evaluation of their sperm. These were men that were saying, you know, they want to make sure that they will be fertile. They're planning to have a family. And it saw that those men that were smoking marijuana, the sperm structure, the shape, the function drastically decreased, 30%. And here's the thing, is that some men had said, no, I don't smoke marijuana, but they had a month ago. So the study was inconclusive to say how long before your sperm gets back to normal. They don't know if it's a week, a month, a year, because based on those men there, everybody had only about a month time off of marijuana for those who hadn't smoked it. And yet they still saw the same disfiguration in their sperm. So marijuana, tobacco, so bad. But you know what else? Alcohol. Alcohol disrupts the communication in the brain to tell your body to send blood to the penis. It totally disrupts that communication. So that communication doesn't even happen properly. And never mind the toxins that it does to the liver, ultimately to the testes. But the other thing that I know we don't really think about is caffeine. I mean, we think that it's great when we're putting caffeine in these pre-workout drinks because it makes us feel like a man. But unfortunately, it's a diuretic. And it is, most doctors will tell anybody who has prostate issues. I mean, 90% of doctors will tell you, because most doctors don't even trust nutrition, but doctors know that caffeine is a major problem for prostate cancer and enlarged prostate. So for every cup of coffee you drink, black tea, green tea, or you're adding, if you're going to like some sort of a Red Bull or a Monster drink or some sort of an energy drink, we're talking sometimes up to 5 times the amount of caffeine. And you are just literally saying to your male organs, I don't need you. I need my coffee, because that's what's happening.
What about people who drink decaf coffee?
So unfortunately, the chemical process to make something decaffeinated is super, super toxic, and the caffeine's never gone. There's always going to be, so now you have a little level of caffeine, plus you've got the chemicals that have made that decaffeinated. So Sorry, water must be your beverage of choice.
Like I say to Carolyn when we chat, I always have my Energy Shack water bottle with me, whether it's in the house or like when I'm driving, if I'm going out, I have a full one of these in the seat beside me.
Yeah, so important.
You know, okay, so Dr. Tachi has a laugh emoji about I want to be big and strong like a man. She has that. And also she asks, is there a better alternative to coffee or tea?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So herbal teas are great, and make sure it's like a true herbal tea, not like, these fancy apple cinnamon teas or this peach medley. Like read the ingredients. If there's like a natural flavor in there, then that's, just MSG and a flavor enhancer. But like pure herbal teas are great. You can also get a coffee substitute, which is like a barley coffee or a chicory root coffee. This looks like, tastes like, smells like instant coffee. One thing I will warn you though is that it's not a health drink. It's kind of like almost like a nothing. It's not bad for you. It's not good for you. It's doing nothing positive for your body, but it is processed in some way. Because if I took chicory root out of the ground, it wouldn't taste like coffee. It's been dried, it's been processed, but not like, it's not bad for you. So I would say that if you could get, usually at health food stores, we have it at some of our bulk food stores here, you can get like a calf lib or there's lots of different names for it, but where you're getting like a dandelion or a mushroom coffee, be careful of mushroom coffees. Most mushroom coffees also have coffee in it, but also some mushroom. I get a lot of people telling, oh, I'm drinking a mushroom coffee now. Read the ingredients. It still has coffee in it. So those now, and I want to caution you, don't drink your healthy herbal tea and don't drink your fake coffee between your meals. It can be water and only water. If you want a herbal tea, have it at night instead of dinner or in the morning before your breakfast. But don't make the mistake of swapping out your water for herbal tea, because that's not good either.
Good stuff. So how do factors like stress and mental health impact erectile dysfunction from a holistic viewpoint?
So if you look at the vagus nerve, so the vagus nerve goes from the brain through the heart, through the lungs, then the heart, and the branches end in the stomach. Okay, so anytime we're stressed, we're bothered, we're depressed, we're upset, your lungs are going to be affected. So less oxygen coming in, and your body has less of an ability to get rid of carbon dioxide. Your heart's going to be affected. It's going to be much weaker. It won't be able to pump blood properly. And then because the branches of the vagus nerve end in the stomach, you're going to end up with digestion issues. And that portal vein going from your digestive tract to your liver is going to be compromised. Any of those areas are not working well, automatically, you are not going to have very good erections. All of those areas, you're lacking in oxygen, you're lacking in nutrients because your digestive system's not working well, your liver is backed up, your heart is weaker. It's going to play a major role. And then, you're depressed. You're not really thinking about sexual things or wanting to be very amorous, but that's because also your brain cavity, because of all this cortisol, it's made your blood thick. It has literally eaten away at some of your myelin sheath, which is what makes you think properly and function properly and remember things properly. It's a real mess. And the problem, the vicious cycle is, Dr. Vibe, is that even if you're not depressed, because you're not eating well, because you're not drinking water, because you're not exercising, you end up with erectile dysfunctions. And that's going to throw any man into depression. You don't wake up and there's a tent with your covers, right? So you're just like, why is this not happening? This used to happen. Is it just because I'm getting older? The reality is that women will lose their ability to recreate, pretty much past the age of 50. Men never. A man never stops producing sperm ever.
I
So
think there's some men who are watching this live on the replay have just said, "Yay!"
I'm not sure why God made it so.
There you go.
Women outlive men, by the way. But with that being said, is that there is no reason why a man, even at 99 years old, cannot have an erection. You know, it's just it's not so. So the truth of the matter is that it's not because you're getting older, but if you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s and your male organs are not functioning the way that they should, and you know your wife is just like, yeah, you're not performing like you used to, this is going to throw any man into depression. And then that depression makes it worse. But the reality is it was so fixable in the first place.
Good. So just do a reset here. We're on the Morning Vibe, Dr. Vibe here, speaking with Carolyn Nichol on her monthly visit. This month she's chatting about the secret sauce all men need to know. And we're talking about erectile dysfunction and also dealing with it or addressing it holistically. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I have, pardon me, Gloria Ernest says, good morning. Thanks for sharing. And I will put it up on the screen too, because people need to know. There's contact information for her, Carolyn, EnergyShackJuiceBar.com. Email should be info, not info. Energy Shack Juice Bar. Instagram at the Energy Shack Juice Bar. Facebook, Energy Shack Juice Bar. Phone number 647-637-6755. Another thing too, Carolyn is global, by the way, because I know for a fact she has at least one client in the DMV in the United States and the Washington, Maryland area. So she serves globally. I just wanted to correct that now. So it's info at the Energy Shack Juice Bar. I wanted to correct everything. Also too, special offer if you want to have a consultation with her or one of her team, $49 instead of $110. When you email and mention the Morning Vibe or Dr. Vibe, put an email address, info at Energy Shack Juice Bar. And also, if you have any questions, just general questions about nutrition, email her.
Yeah, absolutely. I won't
100%.
charge you for that.
Yeah, 100%. So that's all good. I have a question. What are some common misconceptions about erectile dysfunction with nutrition?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So most men feel that in order for them to function as a man and have very good erections, they have to have lots of animal protein. And that is an absolute lie, because in fact, too much animal protein is going to inhibit your male functions. And the protein that you are going to get from plants, you know, people, I have to eat meat to feel like a man. Actually, you are going to destroy many of your male functions by eating meat. So eating meat is a choice, but it is, you know, and I wouldn't knock anybody for that, but it is not necessary for you to function as a man. In fact, studies have shown, I don't know, like, I mean, even if you watch The Game Changer, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan put on The Game Changer. You know, they are completely plant-based, and they show in that documentary how men on plants protein compared to men on animal protein, the men eating plant protein, so this is your beans, your nuts, your seeds, they had more erections through the night than the men that ate meat. So that is a really big misconception, that you won't get enough protein through a plant-based diet, or that you need meat in order for your male organs to function properly.
Right Way Home says good morning, and also says, where is Energy Shack located?
We are in Scarborough. We're inside the Whisk Gluten-Free Bakery. We are at Bellamy and Ellesmere. So you can, of course, come here, get an in-person consultation, do it online. You can pick up a juice, some tonics, some other goodies, but we also deliver all over the GTA and beyond. And as Dr. Vibe said, I mean, I've got clients in Africa. As long as I can talk to you, then I can work with you.
I love that. You know what? That you should put that tagline. As long as I can talk with you, I can work with you. I love it. We got Frequency Event Promotions, greetings, tuning in
Morning,
now.
morning.
Hello. And then also, I want to ask, how can men discern credible information from myths when it comes to holistic health?
Say that again. How can men get credible information?
Yeah, how can men discern credible information from myths in holistic health, or when it comes to holistic health?
So here's what I'm going to say, and I know that this is not, truth is never popular. Okay, let's remember that as a rule for life. Truth is never popular. Most of the time, when everybody's doing something, usually you shouldn't. Okay, so again, I'm glad Tim Hortons is not one of your sponsors, because I know this goes to a lot of people. But when there's a big lineup at Tim Hortons, I know I shouldn't go there. When, I'm seeing everybody go towards this intermittent fasting, or everybody's going to get CMOS, or everybody's drinking apple cider vinegar, I know there's something wrong with it. As soon as it becomes a trend, and as soon as it becomes popular, and as soon as I'm seeing everybody's got a coffee in their hand, I know I shouldn't. So, you don't see everybody at the gym. Most people, when you take a survey of how many people in your workplace, in your home, are actually consistent with their exercise routine, you don't get a lot. How many people are actually consistent with going outside, bike riding, and doing disciplined things that are healthy for their body? Not a lot. So the best way to discern is a couple things. If you are looking at studies and saying, hey, I see the study says that caffeine is actually good and it will give me a better erection, I want you to be wise. I want you to dig deeper. Who sponsored that study? Most likely it was a third-party organization or the organization themselves that sells coffee. This is not coming from, someone who has, is critical thinking or is not compromised or not tied up with one of those organizations. Every time I see a study that tells me that one glass of red wine is good for you, one cup of coffee every day is good for you, when I dig deeper and find out who sponsored that study, who paid for that study, I'm like, of course they're putting that information out there. Yeah.
Follow the money, right? So some comments here. Right Way Home asks, what's the address for?
So I can't type in the chat.
Yes. Well, you know what? If you put it in the private, do you have the icon private chat?
Yes.
If you can click on that, you can type it in there.
Yeah.
You can put it in there. And then while you're doing that, Frequency Event Promotion says, greetings, Dr. Vibe and Carolyn. And he also says, Carolyn. And she goes, Right Way Home says, I am in Scarborough. Well, there you go. And also Gloria says, I'm happy I came to Carolyn for consultation. I love her products. And then Right Way Home.
So great.
Right Way Home says, loves your quote, truth is never popular. Bam. 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 Question here, or a comment from the Macmillan Group. I know you speak of drinking water, but what are the positives / negatives of fresh fruit juice, not the stuff made from concentrate?
Wonderful question. So here's the thing about fruit juice. If I'm going to have a glass of fruit juice, and I know because we make a lemonade, we actually just started a new watermelon juice. If you can imagine how much fruit has to go into one bottle, it's pure sugar. That becomes the problem, with no fiber to slow the uptake into the body. Vegetables are not very high on the glycemic index. So that way, when you juice vegetables, it's not pure sugar into the system. So I know that fruits are loaded with antioxidants and vitamin C, but the fiber in them slows the uptake of the glucose that's in it into the system, so you don't get a sugar hit. So I would tell you that if you're fasting for long periods of time, and that's why we make our fruit juices, is that if somebody's on a 5-day fast, by day 4, I'm giving them one fruit juice, okay? Because they've been fasting for 3 days on just vegetables and water, and that gives them a bit of extra energy. it's still mostly green apple and not a lot of, I don't put pineapples and sweet anything in there. It's apples with lemon, the rind, and ginger. So it's not giving a huge spike. But I have worked with clients. In fact, one is standing out in my mind. He was healthy as anything, eating his salads every day, but he got a juicer and he started juicing fruits. He put himself as a plant-based eater into a diabetic state just by having fresh pressed fruit juice every single morning. Your body cannot handle that kind of sugar, which brings me back to this whole men's health thing, is that diabetes is a metabolic disorder. Erectile dysfunction is a metabolic disorder, okay? Because we're having a hormone imbalance. That's what's happening with diabetes. Almost every man that has diabetes has some kind of ED disorder because your blood is thick and sugary and your hormones are not communicating properly. And that is the perfect recipe to not be able to have an erection or to start having prostate issues.
All right. So the McMill Group follows up. So then it's our consumption that's the challenge. We have to perhaps drink a shot glass instead of a regular size glass.
Just keep pushing that limit. Stop drinking fruit juice. So I would say don't drink fruit juice. If you are going to have it, then yes, maybe a shot glass. But I wouldn't recommend that you really drink fruit juices. Having a glass of vegetable juice every morning, so healthy and healing. And I would save the fruit juice for having one glass during long fasts, or, you know, you're at that party and everybody's drinking their alcohol and you're like, yeah, I'm going to pull out my fruit juice. That's your like special treat for the night.
Oh, I just have my water. I don't care. I just have my water. So let me ask, are there any particular supplements or herbal remedies you recommend for erectile dysfunction?
Yeah, so usually if you're having, I would usually get you on a zinc supplement, but the truth is if you are eating a plant-based diet, you're going to be loaded with zinc. But just to speed up the process, I usually will get male to take a zinc supplement. A coenzyme Q10 if you're having a heart issue, if you do have high blood pressure plus an ED issue, because that will add extra oxygen into the bloodstream. Remember, don't live off of these supplements. Take them for 1 month, and if you've changed your diet, change your habits, change your lifestyle, it should resolve naturally. Now, if you are having a prostate issue, I really recommend you reach out to me, because there's a botanical cream that's produced here in Ontario by a really incredible company. They hand make every one of their botanicals, and it's a peony cream. And it's actually made with just botanicals and herbs. You rub it into the testicle area right by the scrotum, and that can help you with your prostate. But saw palmetto is another good supplement. But again, I don't want anybody running out and getting these supplements as a Band-Aid. I never lead with supplements. We've got to fix the lifestyle. It's not going to work if you're loading your body with saw palmetto, but you're also consuming endocrine disruptors and caffeine. It doesn't work that way. You're wasting your money and you're fooling your brain into thinking, yeah, I'm doing good, I'm taking this supplement, but with my coffee in my hand.
I let a pause there. So McMillan Group says, okay, I concede, LOL.
Listen, you would never hear it from me. I never want somebody to say, Carolyn said it's okay to have fruit juice in the morning, just small amounts. No, I didn't. If you want to do that, that's okay. But yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is, and then how can these supplements be safely integrated into one's diet?
So usually just by following the directions on the bottle. But again, you just don't want to be on these supplements for like longer than 2 months maximum. So if it's a real, like if we're fighting cancer in the prostate, which I've worked with a number of times, and I'm going to tell you, when that prostate's enlarged, it is almost more stubborn than cancer. Like I have to work so hard with the client, getting them to do castor oil packs and like so many herbs and like being very strict on their diet, getting a prostate to become back down to size because it's so small, it gets damaged very quickly. And if your urine is not pure and clean, you are always going to irritate it. I do want to finish with a couple tips that I won't get into right now in case you have other questions.
Right now, and audience, hey, if you have anything, that'd be great. Okay, so let me ask. Okay, how can men maintain improvements in their sexual health over the long term?
That leads me right into what I was going to say.
There we go. I love you. See,
I knew you were going to do that because
good
like
segue. Good segue. Go for it.
So long term is what is key, because if you're having erectile dysfunction, if you're having prostate issues, this didn't start yesterday. Okay. This has been years of poor eating, bad habits, poor lifestyle, lack of exercise. I mean, it's very simply, we sit down, many men are sitting down for their job. That's not how we were designed. We were designed to be outside, to be working, to be moving. So it's no surprise. And this is what, so long term, outside of just changing your diet, there's a couple things you need to know. Have you ever noticed that the male organ is the only organ, man or women, that is outside of the body? All your other organs are inside your body. Okay? The male organ is on the outside, right? With that being said, there's a perfect design behind that. Does anybody know, you can put it in the chat, what's the temperature, my internal temperature of the human body? And I hope you're going to talk Canadian Celsius because I'm not very good with Fahrenheit, but I can probably convert in my head.
And the funny thing is, when we all probably went to school, many of us who have age in this chat, we know the Fahrenheit temperature, but we don't know the Celsius temperature. But I know the Fahrenheit.
Is there that much age difference between us? Because I only know Celsius.
No, there isn't that much. But I remember, okay. I remember. So you know what? Does anyone have a guess?
Does anybody have a guess? The internal temperature of the human body. Does anybody know?
Good question. And you know what? I'm gonna cheat. And okay, I had an initial answer. I was a few degrees off, but I was close. But I can give the answer.
What's the answer?
37 degrees Celsius.
Exactly. That's
right.
Pretty warm. Yeah. 37 and 37 degrees outside. Like, that's a nice day. Okay.
Yeah. Without humidity. Okay.
Yes, without humility.
We're talking humidity. Toronto. I'm in Toronto without humidity. Where you are, you don't have to worry about that. So go on.
So if the human body is 37 degrees and the male organ is on the outside, there's a reason for that. It needs to be cooler than the rest of the body. Okay? It should always be a few degrees cooler than the human body. Society today, and this is thinking long term, okay? So society today has created situations, lifestyle, and clothing that make your male organs sit very, very close to a warm body, okay? We have something called a laptop that is supposed to be designed to be sitting on your lap. Laptops are very warm, many times higher than 37 degrees. All you're doing is cooking your sperm. We get inside our cars and we want to put the seat warmers on. Men, don't touch your seat warmers. You're cooking your sperm. Not a good idea at all. We sit down in our job all day and you are allowing your testicles to sit between two very warm legs all day long. Worse yet, our clothing lining is designed for men's pants to get tighter and tighter and tighter. It's a cool thing. Whether you're gay or straight, it's a cool thing to wear tight pants these days. But unfortunately, the closer you pull your male organ to your body, you're destroying it cannot function in heat. You kill the sperm and you don't allow the communication messengers to function properly. So our lifestyle today has created and designed. Could it possibly be that there are some higher powers out there that want to depopulize this earth so that we can't produce children rapidly? Very, very sure there's some agenda between laptops and sitting down and making clothing that are so tight. Men should be always in loose pants. You should be wearing boxers and not tight underwear and not tight pants. And you should be, if you have a job where you sit down, you have got to get up a number of times. You've got to also create an exercise routine. And like I said, never put electronics on your lap. Stop using your seat warmers and do things where you can actively keep yourself and your body cool multiple times through the day. By doing that, long term, that really helps with your male function. And the final one, which I know no one's going to like me for saying this, so I'm just going to pause and you can talk about this before I give my last secret sauce. And I know it's not going to be liked.
Okay, so catch up with some comments. JJ Mars, who's in Colorado, says 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. We don't use the metric system here. That's true. And you know what? It's actually interesting. I think is the United States one of the few major countries in the world that does not use the metric system. I think that's true. Rita Right Way Home says, loving the info. Also says, darn, laptop cooking your sperm. And then the Macmillan group goes, so the solution is simple to combat ED. Get back to living like it's the 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that's very, very wise to say. And you know what's actually interesting, because another one of the shows I do live is Black Canada Talking. And we did a live session yesterday with Cesar Nadima Musa. It's live. That's every second Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And the first story he chatted about yesterday was the declining birth rates, not only in Canada, but around the world. So this may have something to do with this.
There's, I'm not going to speak on it here, but all of the recent movements and clothing lines and technology are designed to destroy our sexual function and not allow men and women to procreate. That's what's happening. There's a big agenda. This is not a freedom of choice thing. There is a pushing agenda to get people to not be able to procreate because our population is too big and this world is getting too full, according to some elites.
Yeah, the two words, program and agenda. Yeah. We won't go any further. How do you see the role of holistic nutrition evolving in addressing men's sexual health?
Well, I think that it's something that men need to not be afraid to talk about. And in my consultations, I've made it a point, especially over the last year, to ask that question, because I realize women volunteer that information, but men don't always. But that is like, it's almost an embarrassing thing for a man to say that he's not having erections. Like, that's everything for a man. So I think it needs to be talked about because it can be addressed. It can be fixed. The human body's amazing the way that it can be restored and healed if given the right environment. I mean, I don't hide the fact that I'm a Christian, and when I read the Bible, it says in Leviticus that the life is in the blood. If you don't have good blood, you're not going to have good health and life of cells. So we want to do things that don't negatively affect the blood system.
100%. Okay, you wanted to drop a knowledge bomb.
Yeah.
Is everybody ready for another Carolyn knowledge bomb? Da, 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 drop the bomb.
Too much sex. It's a real problem. It actually creates prostate issues and very, very, very bad erectile dysfunction. So we live in a world today where sexual pleasures are everywhere and pornography is in almost every home. But the overstimulation and the constant ejaculations are actually destroying us. Well, destroying men and relationships. But the truth be told, healthy sexual function should happen no more than 3 times a week. And I know that, a lot of men be like, no, we should doing it 2 times a night, every day, 7 days a week. But you actually overstimulate your glands, you overstimulate your hormones, and it will work negatively to your body. So if you look at how long it takes for sperm to be created and for semen to come back and replenish, there should be a 48-hour window before you have another ejaculation for it to be healthy. Because otherwise, and I think every male knows, is that if I've had an ejaculation, to have another one right away is not always possible. It takes even more work, more friction. You actually create damage. And if you do it the next day, it's not always perfect. But if you wait at least 48 hours, it's so much better. So the healthy amount of sexual activity should be about 3 times a week.
So
and I'm not sure if that's going to be well received, but
it's your thoughts, and no problem. Since you've been in this lane,
yes,
what changes, good and not good, have you seen when it comes to men's health and erectile dysfunction?
As you're saying that, I just also want to point out that many men feel that soy products are detrimental to their male organs. But I just want you to know that I have not seen soy negatively affect male function. But I have seen soy negatively affect women's hormones. So that's an interesting thought, just so you know. And I have done a study with a couple men over 10 years and still seen in 10 years no change in male function for more than 10 years. Over those 10 years of eating soy 4 out of 7 days a week, if you can believe it. So it's got to be a non-GMO soy. But just with that, what have I seen over the years? Sadly, men younger and younger are having erectile dysfunction. In my opinion, weed, alcohol, and fast food is way too convenient. And this world is making people think that we don't have time to eat properly and prepare food healthfully. But I think that there's been a lack of training of our young men who are living on their own, not married yet, or have women in their house that don't want to cook and it's left on them and they're just not eating well. So I'm not saying male can't cook. My husband is a better cook than I am, but our men are not getting that training time because I really believe as parents, we're not equipping our children anymore. We're very busy with devices, and we as parents are starting to use takeout instead of dinner ourselves, which tells our young people that it's acceptable and it's okay. And a healthy adult begins with a healthy child. And so you should not have your men or women, but you should not have your men children leave your house if they don't know how to do laundry, they don't know how to cook, and they don't know how to clean. They have got to have some. They should not be dependent on women or fast food places to do those things for them. They've got to have some basic understanding of these things. And so that's the thing that I'm seeing. I'm seeing with more and more my audience used to be between 45 and 70 years old. Like that's my, audience. No, it's now like I'm seeing men that are 25 and that are 30 and that are 17. I met a child who's like 9 years old having a diabetic coma state. Like, what is happening?
What?
What's happening is the food we're eating.
Mm.
The lack of exercise. We're on devices. We're not outside. We're not getting active. And we can yell at our children all the time to get off devices. But the reality is, as adults, so are we. We're not getting exercise either. We're choosing takeout too. And it's a lie from the pit of hell, if I can say, that you don't have time to do it because you have to eat. Make time for your health because it pays off in dividends in your older years.
Good stuff. Right Way Home says, does it matter the age when it comes to frequency of sexual activity?
Sure does. Yeah. A man or woman, for that aspect, is not fully developed till past 20 years old. And so when with our pineal gland, I mean, that is the telltale story of all our sexual activity, function, reproduction, and that is not fully developed until we are past 20 years old. And I don't have all the statistics of the exact age, but it's not developed before then. And so our young people, unfortunately, are being exposed to pornography at extremely young ages. And don't be fooled if you think your kid's not looking at it, because they are. And it is destroying. It is destroying the minds of our young people, and it is impeding their sexual function at an early age. Dopamine is hit, and now it turns to, I need more sugar, or I need drugs, or I need alcohol, just because they overstimulated their sexual function and allowed dopamine, the reward system, to be rewarded with a pornographic situation or a pornographic clip or video that didn't give them satisfaction and fulfillment, like the satisfaction and fulfillment that two married people would have after having intercourse and having affection afterwards and a mutual connection. That hits dopamine too, but your reward center is satisfied and fulfilled after that. You don't feel like I need this again and I need this again. You're okay to wait because there's a mutual love, and it satisfies the frontal lobe, and your hormones are balanced beautifully. But when you have that same artificial experience through pornography or sexual intimacy between a relationship that is not in a committed marriage state, you always have this, is he going to leave me? Is she going to leave me? Oh, that video's over. Like it never finishes, and you never end with that satisfying, fulfilling emotional state for two people. So you always want it again. And it's just
anything else you want to share before you have to go back to Toronto life?
I just want to encourage you guys to make healthy choices. If you go to the Energy Shack YouTube page, and you can watch the show with myself and Dr. Vibe from last Thursday, I talked about the 5 different foods and why men need them in their life. But make healthy choices, drink lots of water, get exercise, wear loose clothing, men. Don't give in to the hype of, we have to have tight pants and that's the style. It's not the style. It's actually destroying you. So, keep it simple and take the time to prepare and plan your day. Decide the day before. Tomorrow, I'm going to the gym at this time. This is what I'm having for breakfast. This is what I'm having for lunch. Plan your day. Take the time to walk through your day before it starts. You'll make less mistakes, be more intentional. And let me tell you, just go outside, throw around the football, kick around the soccer ball, throw the hoops, whatever you got to do. But we have to pull away from our rat race of life and do those things that bring satisfaction, fulfillment. And really, whether I'm talking to a Christian or not, don't have sexual interactions outside of a mutually loving and committed relationship, because that's probably a lot of men have a self-esteem issue, and we feel like you know, is this person going to stay with me or be with me? And I know women do too, but when you have it in a mutually loving relationship, that brings so much health to your male organs.
Good stuff. There's the website, Energy Shack Juice Bar. Email info@Energy Shack Juice Bar. Instagram at the Energy Shack Juice Bar. Facebook, Energy Shack Juice Bar. Phone number 647-637-6755. Again, if you want a consultation, special price $49 instead of $110. Mention the Morning Vibe or Dr. Vibe and email Carolyn at info@Energy Shack Juice Bar. Again, if you just even have some questions for her, you can email her and she can certainly answer those things. Carolyn, as usual, you hit it. You are out of bounds. Okay? And you
I don't know if anyone's going to want to talk to me after this.
No. You know what? And you're right in, and definitely a great conversation. The men's health thing is, and you said something earlier on in jest, but it's true. Men on average don't live as long as women do.
No, that's the actual the actual truth.
Yeah.
And you know what? Less men, cancer is present in more women than men, but more men die of cancer than women. More men are dying of heart attacks than women, although it's almost equal. Yeah. And so this tells me that men's emotions are bottled up inside, not outside. We don't talk about our problems, and we don't have enough healthy outlets to get rid of that stress and excess energy. So that's why exercise, social engagements, just throwing the football outside, going for a run, like, man, let's stop sitting down, let's stop eating junk food, let's find things other than social media as outlets.
Well, it's interesting because I have one of those watches that keep track of calories and all that, and I did a bike ride this week, and it showed a certain amount of calories. My target is 150 minutes of vigorous exercise per week. And then as the weather was good the last few days, I started cleaning my windows, just doing that. And I just out of curiosity, I looked, and I didn't even think, I looked at it and it said, you're doing some vigorous exercise here. So it doesn't have to be, I just went, okay, so there's another opportunity for me. It doesn't have to be getting on the bike or getting on the treadmill.
Absolutely.
There's so many different
Just get moving.
There's an old song by Soul to Soul. Keep on moving, don't stop.
Keep on moving, don't stop.
There you go. Well, look, as always, to you, your family, and your team, and all the people that Energy Shack Juice Bar serves, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. And thank you for making the Morning Vibe a better place.
Thank you. And thank you to your wonderful audience. Thank you for all the engagement and all the questions. And for sure, if you need anything, just reach out to me. God bless you. Have a very good rest of the day.
Be well and keep the faith. All right, family, that is it. That was a good show, wasn't it? Wasn't that a good show? I'm telling you. Oh, I got some thumbs up here. Yeah. People were checking it out. Well, look, family, let's shut it down. So as always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on, please email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group where we can kindle the conversation. I've been lax, so I've got to get some of the most recent shows posted back up there. So got some homework to do. Program alerts. If you're watching this on or before October 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be speaking with Joseph Corley, a Black male registered psychotherapist, and we're going to be talking about the difficulty of unlocking joy for Black men. And it's going to be a series of conversations monthly that I have with Joseph. Really good stuff. So share it out wherever you're watching this here, except on the ACBN Facebook page. You'll be able to check that out. All right. And also, even though it's not that far away, a little over 2 weeks, November 5th, make sure you are here. We're going to do a live watch party in regards to the U.S. election. So that's it. I think we've got it covered. Again, if you want to get in touch with Ryan, RyanO'NeillKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight, Instagram, with Ryan at ryan.knight99, an email address for Ryan. Work with me at ryanoneilknight.com. If you want to get a hold of me, website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the drvibe, vibe, the Dr. Vibe Show. Make it easy. Instagram at the Dr. Vibe Show. That's THEDRVIBESHOW.com. X/Twitter at DRVIBESHOW. Email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And as you've seen scrolling at the bottom, you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro-Caribbean Business Network on Facebook, and Ryan O'Neil Knight on YouTube. All right, we've got one last comment. Let's see if we fit in. And Gloria says, thanks and have a good day. Well, thank you, Gloria. Thanks for dropping by. I think it's the first time you dropped in. So I hope it's first time, no, but not last time. So as always, this is how we finish it off. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember, just don't manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. And we'll see you on tomorrow night, if you can make it, with Joseph Corley. And then Friday, we have Minnie on cam. All right? Be well and keep the faith.